Hey, Tom here, FlipAnything USA. So look, it's July 4th, and I replied to some emails that I'd gotten, and a lady started engaging me in text, and I said, yeah, I'll go ahead and talk to you. And next thing you know, she connected me to her husband, and anyways, so I went ahead. I said, let me know. I said, I just want to record this thing because he's complaining about fake gurus been taken advantage of. His friends and himself and his wife, and I thought, let's just have a call, just record it, and just be a fly on the wall. So anyhow, that's what you're about to hear, and I don't know much about his claims other than, I think he's sincere and honest in how he feels. I can't, I don't know the specifics, but what caught me, what got my interest was he said, "Oh, these fake gurus, because all they're salesmen, they always start off with, what if I told you? What if I told you? What if I told you?"
But let me tell you the story how I actually found you, and then I have my wife to follow you. Because what happened is that my wife do have the Instagram and all the social media. I have none of this. And the reason why I have none of this, because if I click on the Instagram or anything, my blood pressure goes up.
Interesting. So your wife just signed up for a webinar, and I'm just kicking back. It's 4th of July. And what was your name?
My name is Gene.
Eugene and Carol. Okay.
Tom, let me tell you. I'll tell you something very interesting, okay? I happen to get to know Grant Cardone before he was Grant Cardone, before he blew up to be big Grant Cardone. This is where I found you, right, through the YouTube. My idea is just to have that for them, just to learn, because probably real estate is probably the most powerful instrument. No matter where you go, real estate is the most powerful instrument that you can use in order to acquire wealth.
Is. There's a few exceptions to people that maybe are inventors or create something, but in general, there's none of it. Stock market, none of it compares. The longer you're in it, then you'll hit. Sometimes you'll hit some real great. You can create a you can make a lot of money. Good times or bad times. Learn how to make millions of dollars in real estate. I've made tens of millions over my lifetime, and I'm showing people how to do it. Get in my free webinar. I have it every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Go to the link below, flipanythingusa.com/webinar. Sign up for it. You can talk to me face to face if you want. Don't waste any time. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. You don't want to miss my channel. I've been doing it for years. And then if you catch a wave of timing, and things will just go up like a hockey stick, 1 or 2 years in a row, 3 years, and then it'll level out, and then might have another 8-year run of things just going up steadily but slow, and then boom, it'll go up again, double, a very short time. Stuff like that happens. But you got to be in the you got to be an investor to reap the benefits of that stuff. And so, I'm a huge believer just because that's why I wrote the book that I wrote. And
you like this is what I like about you. You like what you do. This is a very interesting topic. Is that a lot of people, they don't like what they do. They hustle for money. So
a lot of the guys out there, they simply take existing material and sell it as their own, but they're very carefully walk around the subject that they don't have any real estate profits, and
no.
That's what
it's
I
like
see all the time.
Yeah. It's like I'm telling you, like my first encounter with you was, and I laughed so hard because during the COVID, you pop up on
right,
and start talking about Grant Cardone.
Right.
So I happen to know him so well, and I even told him to his face that he's fraud. And it took me probably 5 minutes conversation to have with him because I happened to live right around his office, and I happened to live right around his office. And things that I can tell you about him and his team, how he defraud people, how he front run the stuff, how he was nobody like 5-6 years ago, how he blew up and all this. People are followers. They believe to, they believe to some guy like that, And
Yeah. People get upset, and then hey, that's my friend, that's my Uncle G, or that's my boy. All that I hear it all the time. Grant Cardone, I think when he started out, motivating people to work harder in business, that sort of thing, I think is fine. I think he's a good motivator for that. But he extrapolated that experience to mean he was a good investor, and I don't think he is a good investor. The best reference a teacher can have is their students. And I have fantastic students, fantastic success stories. I've only been doing this about 3 years. And, I've got multimillionaires, guys that, have a $5 million portfolio and only about $1.5 million in debt. So they've made, essentially $3.5 million. I've got people that have made over $1 million. I got a gentleman that probably made more than $2 million on a single transaction. And he'd already made several six-figure flips too. And so, but a lot of people made, 10, 20. I got a guy who wrote me this morning and said, "Hey, Tom, sorry I haven't been in class." He goes, "But I wrapped it up. I got 50 and I sold it for 126. Closed it today." And then, but that guy making 70,000 or 70 plus, whatever it was, those deals add up, and when I started, I made 5 to 10,000 a deal. And then pretty soon this is in the 80s, and then in the 80s, all of a sudden, I had about 40, 50,000. And then I started, when that first property I bought, I didn't have any money, and got it owner carried, and I got, great terms that I could live with and worked with. But after that, I was back to being broke like everybody else, In other words, I couldn't get, the kind of terms that I got for other deals. So I had to go find a partner. I had to go borrow hard money cash. And so I did that. And then after I, did several deals and, had $40,000, see son, in the bank, then I started, I didn't need any help. I could buy with my own money. And that's why it's so important to flip. See, that's why I say the credibility I bring to the table is I didn't sell books and courses and then take some of that money and buy real estate and pay full retail, which is what a lot of these guys have done. I started with nothing, flipped and made cash and built up the cash, and then kept buying bigger and flipping bigger. And then pretty soon got to a point where I could buy and hold, a fairly decent amount of property, and at the same time maintain an inventory that I could buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell. So it's always important to flip, and holding property is kind of a pleasure for, it's a pat on the back, and it's your reward for doing a good job flipping, because then you can have a certain amount of money invested and leveraged out there. Buy a $1 million building with $250,000, and that's worth, maybe you pay $1 million, but it's worth $1.5 million. So now you got a lot of equity, and then now you got an income that is just kind of nice to have coming in. And there's no reason to sell that asset unless you have a reason to sell it to turn it into something bigger. I have a property I just sold for maybe 3 years ago for $1,725,000, and I only paid $240,000 for that property. And so I made about $1.5 million. Plus, I got rents of $60,000 to $90,000 a year for several years. And people are like, "Well, how would you sell it?" Well, when I sold it, I didn't really care about selling it, but I knew my neighbors wanted it. They paid a premium for it, but I told them I'd sell it to them when I found something else I wanted to buy. And then I did. I found a $4 million building for $2.8 million, and I said, "Okay, let's do it." And so we closed the deal. I rolled the profits from that property into this other property that I paid 2.8, and I made $1.2 million that day in extra equity that I didn't have the day before. And but now I realized the $1.5 million profit off the other deal by in as much as I put $1,700,000 down on a $2.8 million property that's worth about $4.2 million. Anyways, so that's the thing is I I still buy the same kinds of property today that I bought 40 years ago. Stuff that everybody drives by. I can throw a rock either direction from where I'm sitting right now, and I can land on something I own, and I keep throwing that rock.
You're in Texas, right? You're in Texas.
Yeah, I'm in Texas now. But even when I wasn't in Texas, it was the same story in my 20s. I could throw a rock, and I could hit something I own, and hit another, and throw it from there and hit something else I own. And I show that in my webinars. I show people how I made my first $1 million when I was in my 20s, and then how I've gone on to make tens of millions more. And I have a couple 100,000 square feet of rentals of all kinds. And I have a certain amount of inventory that I also use. That I'm buying and selling. Now I bought 3 houses probably in the last 4 months, and the people that don't know how to invest don't invest right now, and I continue to invest, and my students are still, killing it. I mean, not everybody kills it at the same time, but they're doing well. They're learning and they're finding out. And I started with 10% interest rates in very tough times in 1981. It was very tough, and and it opened up the opportunity for me to get an owner finance deal for one thing. But at the same time, there's less competition when it's tougher. And but it's always tough to a degree. People say don't buy now, things are too high. Oh, don't buy now, things are too slow. It's like, oh, then with using that logic, there's never a good time to buy. So real quick, who did you throw money away with? Did your wife tell me correctly? She said she got taken by some fake gurus, or was it just bad advice?
Well, there was a couple. There was a couple things. I'll tell you that in a second. I just want to go back to the COVID thing again.
Yeah.
When you were talking about Cardone, right?
Yeah.
Quickly.
Sure.
There was somebody in his office that is no longer in the office, but he took the information that actually he handed over to the FBI, right? And unfortunately, and that information went to someone else. And there's the actual gentleman that actually popping up on YouTube. He's got balls. So he popped that information, how Cardone front run the properties for people. When you were talking about COVID, that Cardone is going to go down, here's the interesting thing. None of these properties that Cardone have, he's got his own money in it.
No, I never said Grant would go down. I just said he was making stupid statements.
The way he structured the thing is that he was buying the properties and resell to those fanatics, to zombies, Cardone zombies. And that's a completely ridiculous thing, is that he just literally resell the property. I'll give you an example. So let's say he had the property for $10 million. He was buying the properties for under his name, then selling the property back to his Cardone capital for $2 or $3 million more, and without even disclose that information to the investors. And all the investors was coming into the property. So what's happening is that they all bringing the money to Cardone, but at the end, Cardone, once he closed out on property, he pulled his own money out. So that's what I'm saying, that it calls Cardone capital, right? But the trick this mother effer did is that, every single project that he's got, he managed those. He manages those properties, right? He buys them under his name. He resells them to the investors.
No,
but
I understand. No. So look, I don't,
You know how disgusting it is?
Yeah, no. Listen, I don't even care about that. Believe me, buyer beware. You sign up for an agreement. You got to understand that, but I just don't think he's a good investor. I don't think when he says, I'll show you how to make money in real estate, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he doesn't have experience.
A very interesting situation. My son, he at that time, I think it was like a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. So he was working in a restaurant, and they happened to cater Cardone events. So one was a real estate event, and another one was a business event. So the one that was a real estate event, he brought a lot of real estate investors, blah, 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 blah. And that event was like enormous amount of money, $20,000, something like that. So he catered that event, and I told my son, listen, you're going to be there all day, so let me know if you learn anything. My son came back home. He told me, Papa, at the 17 years old, he told me, Papa, I don't understand those people. They pay for something that even I don't understand is complete scam. And I told him, okay, let's not talk about this. Let's see, And then in about a couple of weeks later, he catered the business event. And let me tell you, this business event, they were selling the tickets for $40,000. There were a lot of people in there because he had to cater from the restaurant, from the Italian restaurant, and $40,000. But underneath, they were upselling the special program for $400,000 with his new partner, Brendan Dawson. And this is interesting. And I told him, okay, you're going to a business conference right now with this guy. You're going to do catering, right? So in other words, you're staying there all day. So in other words, think about this. You're on this event, but you're not paying this money. And then he get back to me, and I asked him, did you learn anything? He said, I learned absolutely nothing. And let me tell you, my kids, very good kids in the sense because I raised them properly in the sense that they're very, very, very good kids. They're 19. We have this guy here that's constantly going online and constantly talking about Section 8 properties, right? So talking about Section 8 and seller finance. And he constantly said on me, seminars, this and that and that and that, and my wife fall for it. And let me tell you something. She threw money in there because pretty much basic information of a Section 8, and when you have information of a seller financed properties, right, it turns out to be properties that are, yes, they're seller financed. Yeah, you can put $3,000 in those properties, but the problem is that the amount of restoration you have to do into those homes after all, you come out in minus and not a plus.
Yeah, I've seen some of the fake gurus misrepresent deals that if you just understand the math, and a lot of people don't, they don't pay attention, but you can quickly see that, yeah, they got this with a low down, but then you realize they injected $300,000 in repairs, and it's like, well, that's really not a nothing down deal. It's not a nothing down deal so much.
Like
I'm
I
not
said,
saying it's the same. I'm just saying I've seen some examples, but go ahead.
Yeah, and all the fake gurus, like for example, I go, like even my wife showed me on Instagram because I tell my wife, you watch it, you sign up, and and you show it to me because every time I see something, all I see, what if I tell you? And my wife is like, now she started listening to me, right? And she's like, oh, you may be right because look, these guys say, what if I tell you? What if I tell you? And another one, so many guys.
You said this earlier. Before I started recording this, Eugene here said to me, he said all these fake gurus, they say this is how they start. What if I told you, right? What if I tell you?
Yeah.
So continue on that theme. Please explain that again.
Yeah, and then we go to Pace Morby because I'm looking at the guy, and all of those little guys, all of those little gurus Cardone wanna be, right? And you could tell that these guys are building the community in a sense of not really coaching, right, or educating. They actually building a network community, throwing some fake education. Some of them don't even have the real estate. There was a guy, I forgot his name. He even blocked my wife because my wife told him, okay, my wife showed it to me. I said, okay, why don't you ask this guy certain questions, right? And it was a simple question, and the guy just blocked her immediately. When I started discovering this, what if I told you? When my wife goes through the Instagram right now, Pace Morby constantly come up. Then a lot of Burr methods coming up with all kinds of fake ideas. Oh, we're gonna call you. There's a Burr method. We're gonna teach you blah 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 blah. That's much money it costs. And then they phone suddenly disappear. Like for example, my wife today, yesterday, she signed up to this another guy called by the name Eric Spofford. Mm-hmm. So and then we go do diligence on the guy, right? So and interesting thing that the guy called my wife, and I'm like, okay, let me listen. So I'm calling from Eric Spofford offices.
Spofford, and I asked, wait a minute, Eric Spofford, Spofford. Yeah,
and here's the interesting thing. So he's saying I'm calling from Eric Spofford offices. So I go to my wife and tell you, Eric, I believe Eric located in Miami. And he say, yeah, Eric located in Miami. His office is located in Miami. And I tell my wife, why don't you tell him we're going to come to sign agreements. We're going to drive by the office and sign the agreements. So he said, oh, it's the office only for the real estate. I said, we're talking about the real estate. So where's the office is located? So, and then obviously he said, I'm sorry, let me call you back or something. He never called because, again, there's no such. If you say you're calling from offices, meaning you're calling. Mm-hmm. So, in other words, it's like right away you ask them a question, where your office is located. So you don't start the relationship from a very little simple lie, right? Things like that. And then, interesting thing, she goes and sign up for another promotional Section 8, because I told my wife, I said, watch it. If you sign up for the next scam that they're offering, they're gonna come back to you with the same phone number. And guess what? They just came back with a different name, with a different phone number, with a different name with the same phone number. The thing is that the way they try to scam is that, and um, even those guys that are try to take his business or call a mastermind, where he probably train him how to become a sales, and try to sell programs and this and that and that. This is the latest fraud that's actually happened today, right? And I told my wife, it's like, look at those steps, how they try to defraud you, here, and there, right? And then he goes to you and tells you, okay, show us the properties that you guys purchased, with the this and that and that. He showed, look at the seller finance. So Tom, he showed 2-3 properties that are built in 1900, right? Seller finance that completely destroyed. So the question is that, number one, even if you buy a Section 8 property, you don't buy anything in 1900s. You buy somewhere in 1980s.
Well, whatever. Is this Eric? Are you talking about Eric Spofford still, or did you jump to somebody else?
Yeah, Eric Spofford.
So is this the same guy that he's like in some hot water about sexual misconduct? Is that the same guy?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And he owns Stone Recovery Centers or something like that?
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, I never heard of this guy. But, well, anyways, yeah, so you kind of hit it on the head. And I haven't, like I said, people don't ask any questions. They don't ask for proof. If you go to Pace Morby, his sub 2, if you go to his Pace Morby's sub 2 website, he's got a thing listed as success stories. And you go down there, and there's a big long list of people with their pictures. But if you click and listen to these things, most of these people have never made a profit at all. And none of them describe how much they made. Not one of them said how much they made. One said they went in on a triplex or something with 3 people. Another one, said, I don't know anything, but I'm really excited. There's this young man. He's like, I can't wait. I think it's going to be great. I love the community. And
let me explain you how it works. Human body and human brain is like a lot of people. They like somebody to follow. And once they follow someone, they create cult around this person. So when we're talking about cult, like, for example, Grant Cardone Scientology cult, you wouldn't believe that, Cardone is Scientologist, right?
Yeah, and I don't, listen, I don't care, to be honest. I mean, on some of that stuff,
yeah.
much matter
but
to me.
let me explain it. Let me explain it to you. When people starting like someone and they can follow, because usually people want to follow someone.
Sure.
Because let me explain to you. I work for a software company, with the software company, and let me tell you something. 99%, but 99.9% of the people want to use that software. They have no idea how to use it, but they still subscribe to it. And the way the marketing works is they have so many marketers that are working around the software that creates the cult, and people get so attached to it, so hang up on that software that they cannot live without it, even though they cannot use it and they cannot make money with it, but they still doing it. So that's what the Pace Morby is all about. So what the Pace Morby is that they listen.
What is your experience with Pace Morby?
Pace Morby, I have a few friends that actually went on his sales pitches, and 2 of those friends, they lost money. They pay enormous amount of money for his education and the network and all this, and they all lost money. So in other words, they didn't make no money. It's a gator method. They say it's not a gator method. He call it a gator method, and these guys know a little bit about real estate, and they say it's a bridge method. But it works. Sometimes, majority of the time, it doesn't work. And
are these folks are they Ukrainian folks like yourself, or just
No, no,
No similarities in that regard. Just curious.
no.
And I want to ask you just a couple more questions. So you know people. What's interesting to me about you is the first thing you said is you're an avid, like a YouTube university, not a student, but you're trying to find information, and you keep running into frauds. You were saying that this started out when you told me how frustrated you are with Instagram. You said Instagram just seems to be like nothing but sales pitches from a lot of fraudulent folks, and I don't disagree with you because I've seen a bunch of it. Like I say, you can't control your wife. Jumped in, you found out she bought whatever she bought. In Spofford, did she throw money at Spofford?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh my gosh! So she threw money at her. How much did she throw at him?
The way they were coming up at her, my wife is very shy, and my wife is so honest. And I tell her, my love, you cannot be so honest in America. It's horrible. You'll be taken advantage. So anyways, the guy goes to her and says, okay, Carol, we could do this with you for 7,000. And then I told my wife, I said, listen, you know what? Hang up the phone and, have him text you the information. And then you tell him that, whatever the 7,000, you tell him, okay, it's going to be 2,000. And guess what? So from 7,000 down to 2,000. Again, the information is nothing new. It's exactly the same that actually leads you to another step where you literally cannot really acquire and learn how to properly do the real estate. But anyway, I don't want to talk about any of those clowns. It's not because if we're going to keep talking about these guys, it's only going to be negative energy. As you understand, I live right around the Cardone office, which is Miami. Miami is becoming unobtainable. And honestly, to tell you, we're just paying paycheck to paycheck. Anyway, so let me explain it to you. I have two of my kids. They work very hard. I kicked them out, to work because I started working at 16. Yeah. And I told them, okay.
I know. I got to ask you a couple questions real quick. So,
go ahead.
How much money do you guys have to invest?
I tell you what. That's what I'm telling you. Two of my kids, they work for 2 years. And I want them to learn from you.
Right. And, but I'm asking you some questions. I'd like to know who I'm talking to as far as how much they have financially. It's not that I care about having taken your money. I just want to know where you're at, what you can do. So it's important for me to know your capacity.
Both of my kids have $80,000 saved up.
Okay, the two together have $80,000. Okay, so are you calling for your kids or are you calling for yourself? Are you trying to think? Are you considering like you want to buy a program for, your boys or your girls or whatever?
No. Actually, I want my kids to get in on your program, and I want my kids to use that money because it's their money. I help them to save it.
Sure.
And I helped them to save it. We went through a lot. They're working very hard, and pretty much both of them have $80,000. So I did tell them that you do need to acquire some skills, and both of them will go to Airline Academy.
Oh, wow.
And
sure. So how old are your kids?
19.
Oh, okay. Are they twins?
Yeah, they're twins.
No, I have twin boys. Listen, do your boys have my book yet?
Actually, you know what? Just because you took your time to call today, I need you to send me a link, the best link where they can buy the. Book.
Listen, I can tell you right now, I probably wouldn't take them at this point. You have to want it. If you don't want it, it's not going to happen. So
no, they want it badly.
No, I know. You want them to jump in it. You're driving them. They're not driving themselves. You're telling them this is a good guy, and I appreciate that. I do, but I can tell you. I turn down more people than I allow in the class, and the reason is if I don't think somebody will succeed, I don't want them in the class, and that's why I have such a really really high success rate. If you were to go onto the site, and by the way, like I say, if you go to my, if your wife follows me, anybody knows you can get my book. You just go to FlipAnythingUSA.com, and you're going to find a link to the book. I look for people that show. They got to show determination. They got to show common sense. Your boys sound like they have, they've saved well, and they're not wasteful. That's a good quality. That's something I looked into.
They're good. That just, it's like the right now conversation because they say, even like my wife was checking the text and she see you texting, right? And my wife told me and told my son, and then like They push me up front because, okay, you go talk because you know how to talk to people.
Sure.
You will, because you know
You're the
how.
dad.
My,
You're the
my,
dad. I get it. No problem. Hey,
yeah,
I'm gonna have
my
to.
son's a great,
I'm gonna have to rush you a little bit here because I got to be somewhere too.
yeah.
It's it's 4th of July, so happy 4th, by the way. Go to the website FlipAnythingUSA.com. They'll see the link to the book. It's on Audible. They can
Okay.
get in any form they want. They should get it, and after they read it, then they should take the mentorship survey, which is also at the top of the page. Fill that out.
I'm gonna talk.
And then after
I'm
they
gonna
fill
talk.
that out, I'll talk to them just like I talked to you. There's nothing better. I had a kid write me today and told me he made Josh is his name. No, Austin. I think it's Austin actually. Anyways, he said, "Hey, sorry, I haven't been in class lately." He goes, "But I did it. I got it sold today." And he bought a property for $50,000, and he sold it for 126. This is a text I got this morning, and I got others. I get texts every week from my students that are in the middle of a project, or they need a little help with something. I help them through whatever they need help with. It's a really cool thing seeing a lot of young people and people that are in their 40s, 50s that are all of a sudden, they're seeing more money in their hands in a couple of years than they've seen in their whole lives. They're actually buying something, selling. And
Here's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna hurry right now to hang up on you because I have to go to the next room and tell my son how to log in and buy a book. Okay,
yeah.
so I'm gonna hurry.
Yeah, do that, and then just have them contact me after they read the book. And if they don't get through and read the book, don't push them. Let them find it on their own. I don't care about the money. It's a lot of money to get in with me, but I only take serious people. Like I say, I don't.
What's the cost of your program?
It starts. I mean, I give breaks to people. I could give it away if I wanted to, but I give breaks to people that might need it, and I don't give breaks to people that don't. But main thing is get the book and just see how they feel first. I'm actually right now the course. I've got 28 hours. That's what I call the crash course. That's how it started. And now there's 500 more hours on top of that. That's also available.
Okay.
And so, and then there's access to me, and so, but the average course, I don't even want to say because, I mean, just get in and all. It's not that I'm trying to sell you something that's not real or anything,
Yeah.
but like I say, I've given very substantial discounts. Let's just say it starts around $12,000, but I give very substantial discounts because I leave it high to discourage people that I don't want to really break their heart and tell them, look, you ain't gonna go nowhere. But I always try to tell everybody honestly, and that's why I'm telling you.
Tom, happy 4th of July.
All right, hey, thanks for sharing so much. Take care.
No, thank you.
Bye now. But anyways, it's a shame. There's never any guarantee anybody's going to make money in something they jump into. There's people that will take people in no matter what, whether they think they're going to succeed or not, and people that are fraudulent that just simply don't know what the hell they're doing and they're just scammy, and I don't know. I don't know any of the particulars on the people he mentioned. I mean, I have my opinions about Grant Cardone and Pace Morby. I don't think they're very good real estate investors. I don't think they have any real expertise that's of much value. The Spofford guy I've never heard of. But what I will tell you is buyer beware. Listen, when people come to me, I tell them, I show them all the properties that I own, all the different kinds, apartment buildings, industrial buildings, commercial buildings, houses, large, strips of land, the profits made, or I explain them in great detail. And this is what you should do. If you push them to prove that they know what they say they know, or that they can make money the way they say they can, if somebody claims to be an expert, and they're not, they're going to hang up on you, which is probably the best thing in the world. If you push them to prove that they know what they say they know, or that they can make money the way they say they can, if they hang up on you, just say thank you and move on. Because anything is better than actually taking the advice of a fake guru. You give them money. Even worse is giving them money and then taking their advice and getting even deeper into a hole. So anyways, glad I got to share that with those that are interested in this sort of thing. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. get a copy of my book. Great place to start. And if you want to get into my mentorship, you have to apply. Nothing is guaranteed. You can't buy your way in. You buy your way to get in, but you have to be approved, and you just go to apply for mentorship there. And I'll certainly, I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt and talk. I don't like to spend this much time talking to anybody. I try to give everybody, a decent amount of time because, that's what I want my legacy to be. Helping people to realize how to make money in real estate. And I can shortcut them to it because I've been doing it a long time. So anyways, thanks for watching. See ya.